I want to talk about a problem that has been bothering me for several years now. It began with this insecurity with um, originality. I wanted to be original. I wanted to have original ideas, original concepts that would, permeate the world and change things and everything. This is a very popular, naive position to have, especially as a younger person. And it was difficult because there were so many things that I would say. I would keep a journal and I would write about the things that I feel and the things that I think. And then I would listen to other people that were in positions that I looked up to. These are people who have achieved something great. They have their doctorate, they have an education, they have a good career, whatever it is, success in a certain area that I would like to pursue as well. And they would express the ways that they feel and think and the things that they think. And then they would be very similar to mine. And for whatever reason, my response to that was like, oh, wow. Well, like, I guess it's really hard for me to even create or come up with anything original at all. And it was very disheartening. And looking back on it, my reaction to that should have been, oh, well, I had these thoughts and these feelings that occurred without ever having listened to these words yet. And so they were naturally occurring in and of myself, I suppose. And so I should just enjoy the fact that this person who already has all of this achievement has had the same thing go on in their head. And so I should just relate to that and be kind of happy that I might be on a similar road, a similar path, and take confidence in that. And so that was one thing that I had to overcome and realize that really benefited me. In addition to that, to the originality problem, is that as far as like artistic ability or creation, I started hearing a lot of other people tell me things that made me feel better about the fact that originality is impossible. I come to the realization that it is impossible, which is a completely different video. There are tons of videos on how originality is useless and impossible, but I think I do have an addition to the concept, so that'll be another video. But I came to that conclusion finally of my own self with the help of others. I was persuaded that originality is in fact impossible. And so then after that, I moved on to a new insecurity, a new self-consciousness, a new problem that bothered me and nagged at me, that made me feel inadequate, especially as someone pursuing a career in academia, a career in psychology. And that was that I didn't have enough knowledge in my brain, and it was just destructive, really. And only until recently have I been able to get out of that feeling to where no longer am I reading books and thinking about the fact that I will never be able to read even a fraction of the total number of books that even exist in the world.
Libraries also have evolved. The Assyrian library of Assurbanipal had thousands of clay tablets. The celebrated library of Alexandria in Egypt consisted of almost 1 million papyrus scrolls. Great modern libraries, like the New York Public Library, contain some 10 million books. That's more than 10 to the 14th bits of information in words, more than 100 trillion bits. And if we count pictures, it's something like 10 to the 15th bits of information. Now, that's more than 10,000 times the total number of bits of information in our genes, something like 10 times the total amount of information in our brains. If I were to read a book a week for my entire adult lifetime, and I lived an ordinary lifetime, when I was all done, I would have read maybe a few thousand books, no more. In this library, that's from about here roughly to about here. But that's only 0.1% or so of the total number of books in the library. The trick is to know which books to read. But they're all here.
And when you look at something like that, and you get to see that even if you read these many books in a lifetime, it would only be these many shelves, and that's it. And then in addition, you wouldn't even be able to remember all of that necessarily. You would only be able to retain for, however many years, even a smaller fraction of information from the books that you did read. And then, how much of that is useful, how much of it isn't, how much can you make connections with other ideas and hyperlink it inside of your brain. It's, nearly impossible. And I was reading Thomas Sowell's Intellectuals and Society, I think is what the book was called. And he pointed out that even the smartest person in the whole world, the highest intellect, the highest IQ, in a lifetime would only be able to collect and obtain way less than 1% of all knowledge in the world. And for whatever reason, I mean, you could look at that pessimistically, but for whatever reason, it clicked with me. And suddenly a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I said, well, there we go. That's it. It's okay now. We don't have to pursue, we can't learn everything, right? And so why bother myself with stressing myself out? Am I going to quit learning? No, I'm going to quit learning. I'm going to continue. I might go forward with more tenacity than ever now that I know that I don't have to learn everything and that I can't be expected to do that because it's impossible, literally impossible. And I for sure am not the smartest person in the world, for sure, and which means that I couldn't even approach 1% of all the knowledge in the world, right? So I guess it's just good to reframe your goals and your expectations so that they don't absolutely crush you, and so that they're really heavy and they are still lofty in their nature, but not totally impossible and crushing in that way. So yeah, I just had to make sure that everything that I read, and I still make sure that everything that I read is good. I vet it. I make sure that it's right. I make sure that it's good. I'll include a link to a video from a YouTube channel called The Archive who discusses this very idea and goes through how you can decide what books to read, what books not to read, and how to find more books from the books that are good. So that's basically what I've been doing. And I also, and this is why this is one of the first videos on this channel that is different from all the fall book club videos. I'm going to be doing more of these in the future that is just me exploring in live time through extemporaneous speech these things that occur to me and I've been thinking about. And so I was insecure too through that insecurity about not having sufficient knowledge or education in certain areas. And so I was really concerned that I was like, I can't make a video and post it publicly when there's all this that I don't know. I still don't know anything. And it bothered me. And so now I think, in an effort to create a public discourse and contribute my voice to it and contribute to, as the archive refers to as the great conversation, I'm going to post them and I'm going to put my voice out there. I'm writing ferociously nowadays, and I make a point to write multiple pages a day, and I think that it's important to think about this and to pursue truth in so much as I'm capable of doing so. And this is part of it. and I can't let the fact that I don't know everything stop me from participating in these conversations. So, this is the first video of many, and I hope that you have benefited in some way from listening to this ramble. So, thank you so much, and I'll see you later.